Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us tmosso@the1916company.com. It's in the description below for purchase and pricing details of this or any of our watches. What you're looking at today represents the limit. During the 2000s, Audemars Piguet's Royal Oak Offshore Limited Editions were on a winning streak, and they reached their peak just as the global economy was reaching its limit in 2008, which is when this Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore Survivor debuted. And again, it is the limit of how you can evolve this species while still leaving it recognizable as a Royal Oak Offshore. How many limits are we talking about? Forget it. We're breaking all of them. This is the zaniest Royal Oak Offshore of all time. So, taking a quick look at what we've got here, it's technically a 42 millimeter, though it's got so many appurtenances on its flank, it looks more like a 44. It's made of a ceramic bezel, it's got a sapphire on the top, it's got a titanium case and case back, and in terms of thickness, it measures 15.7 millimeters. If we're just talking lug-to-lug case only, then it's 53.5 millimeters, but if we measure these intermediate plots, the total swelling across the wrist is a beefy 58.5 millimeters. So this is a broad watch, and you can see it's got some stiffness to it, so the strap won't pull straight down. All that in mind, I'm going to throw it on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and you'll note that it does fit. Now, we are at, once again, that word, the limit. I could not wear it if my wrist were any smaller. You could see down the barrel, we're there. Over the top, we're there. The cuff shot, perhaps revealing the watch would fit underneath a jacket sleeve, but not a tight dress cuff. Regardless, this is no dress watch, and you don't wear it because you want to hide it. It's anything but inconspicuous, and it was never intended to tuck beneath a cuff. Taking a look at the strap, you can see this is one of the few Royal Oak Offshore models that has a model-specific strap. This is distinctly the Survivor strap, and you could see because it looks like belt-fed ammo. We also have a sort of matte finish, anti-glare. The little bevel of the lug continues on the flank of the strap. It's fixed to the case using screws and bars, which I applaud. That's more secure than spring bars. On the bottom, you can see Audemars Piguet, as well as no crimping, no gouging. This is a brand new factory strap. The buckle, as you can see, is blackened and made of titanium, like the majority of the case. And it is a DLC diamond-like carbon, so very, very scratch resistant. You could see what you get is the most extreme evolution, maybe we should say mutation, of the core genus Royal Oak Offshore. So let's take a look at the plots. As you can see, they are drilled. A look, an aesthetic drawn from weight reduction techniques on firearms, especially accessory mounting rails on firearms, and you can see that aesthetic again in the case, which has been drilled out for the same reasons. There's a grip on the flank, and then we've got a bezel that has the look of a heat sink in order to cool off your rapid-fire weapon. We've got a crown that looks like a muzzle brake, and we've got guards, which are spring-loaded for our chronograph pushers that make it look as though we're about to pull the pin on a grenade. By the way, some folks online will stance the watch like this for shots on forums, and that's called the Black Widow stance, because it's a watch that can basically stand on its own, and the Black Widow reference is self-evident. Now, on the dial side, what else do we have? We have a lot. You can see we have something very similar to the view you would get on advanced rifle optics or a scope. So bullseye. And then we have a dial that is essentially all black and white for maximum contrast. And if you look at the center dial, we have something rare on the Royal Oak Offshore, which is a pantograph cut tapisserie. Normally, the hobnail dial, the mega tapisserie on the Offshore, normally that's a stamped dial. Whereas the petite and the grand tapisserie on the smaller Royal Oaks, those are pantograph cut. Well, this isn't a stamped mega. This is a pantograph cut mega. And you could see that because of all the little micro textures between and over the hobnails. So this is an artisanally created dial, not a stamped one. You can also see we have chronograph Hours and minutes and then running seconds up at the top with a small splash of varnished red. We have a tachymeter scale, which can be used for gauging the speed of an object. We also have polished and applied indices. And then we have these hands that are designed to look like weight reduction components on a rocket launcher, a rifle, a handgun, an accessory, everything that you use to kill or be killed. It is here. And the watch is simply packed with details, although it's easy to miss some things, like the fact that the case is a different material than the bezel. The bezel is made of scratch-resistant ceramic. The case is DLC titanium. And you could see that in profile, it has different facets and finishes, including satin and polish. The flank is polished. You can also see it's been relieved with external access to the polished bolts that are used to fix the bezel to the case. We have a screw-down crown. We have 100-meter water resistance on the case back. What we have is described by Audemars Piguet as a grip aid. And then you can see G series. This watch came out in 2008 and a 1,000-piece limited edition. Note we have several different finishes on the case back, including polish, media blast, and satination. And then back on the dial side, we have a chronograph that is equipped with a Dubois Depraz 3840 vertical clutch module. So the vertical clutch system means there's no jump, stagger, or extraneous motion to the seconds hand when you start it up. That's the advantage of a vertical clutch. We will do a quick lume shot, and if you're going to survive the apocalypse, you're going to need some lume to do it. This watch, full of the imagery of rifles, handguns, ammunition cartridges, ammunition belt fed, accessory mounts, muzzle brakes, heat sinks, it's got all of it. And inside the case, the machine is AP's own. So we've got the Dubois Depraz chronograph module, but base caliber 3126, automatic winding with bidirectional winding action, a 50 to 55 hour power reserve, stop seconds, a quick set date. It's got a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance for shock resistance. It all pivots on 59 joules, and once again, it is water resistant down to 100 meters. And this watch is a survivor. It survived the global economic downturn with its reputation as the most wild and imaginative offshore LE intact. This is a rare sight, and in a lot of ways, if you were into the end of days, this takes everything about the end of days aesthetic to the next level, maybe several orders of magnitude. It is, after all, the survivor. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.